Hi everyone, for tonight's Nightcap and review, I'm having a beer and I'll be reviewing Shadow Rising by Georgia C Leigh. This is a book I received as an ARC, but of course I'm going to give my honest opinion. These are the tropes and these are the content warnings. I will say the copy I received did not have content warnings, and typically, at least in the past books, as this is the third in the series, content warnings were not listed. Having read the book, these are the things I kind of identified. I will say they are pretty standard for what I read with fantasy. The author in no way glorified them. They added to the storyline, but I do want to make people aware those are in the book, and I may have missed some because I was really getting caught up in the story, and then I'd be like, oh wait, I should jot this down. So I did my best. This is what I have. Again, having read this book, it fits what is in, I would say, consider most standard fantasy novels. So if you're comfortable with those in other books, I believe you would be comfortable with this as well, but I want to make you aware. So for my rating, I am giving this 4 stars, and I want to say finally. Now, again, this is book 3 in the series. You do have to read book 1 and 2 as there's an ongoing storyline, so if you are not familiar with those books, you may want to skip this review so I don't give away any spoilers as to what may indicate happened in the previous books. But having read those, again, finally, Haven and Riker are together. Oh my god, never thought this would happen. It was gonna happen, but finally. So before I get into my thoughts on this book, what is this book about? Again, it's a continuing storyline from book 2. If you haven't read that, please scroll past. This isn't going to be a spoiler for book 2 and how it ended. Book 2 ended with demons decimating the royal family, leaving all but 2 heirs, as well as destroying some shadow walkers. Remember, shadow walkers are few and far between, so unaliving 1 or even 2 of them stretches the already thin organization even thinner. So it is both the Shadow Walkers and the monarchy who are in a very fragile state right now, leaving the country fragile. So the country is just trying to stabilize as best as it can under Hope, who was named Regency, under her power, and just trying to stabilize and level out and figure out everything as the time progresses. However, while they are trying to stabilize Hope's regency, key players have disappeared. Hope, Riker, their triad, the other heir that was left alive, and other key shadow walkers have all disappeared and gone into hiding, and Hope is doing everything she can to bring all of them back for whatever scheme she has planned, especially for Haven, who is the Phoenix. However, Haven and Riker are in hiding with their teams, safe, just trying to come to terms with what happened with the demon attack, the loss of monarchy, the loss of friends and family, and just trying to come to terms with everything that happened, and now trying to figure out how they want to proceed under Hope's regency. They know she's no good. They know she was a part of the attack, and they're trying to figure out what their next step is. So along with trying to figure out the next step and trying to figure out how they can expose Hope for all that she did and all the schemes she's been a part of, Riker and Haven are also focusing on themselves because for the first time they are truly together. In book 1, it was a slow burn for them to get together, and then it ended with her going into the trials. In book 2, you had to deal with the trials and the memory loss, so now we are finally getting to see them together. But they are suffering traumas for everything they've gone through, especially Riker during the trials. They are trying to deal with the trauma of what happened between them while they were separated and all that entailed, as well as everything else going on in the country. However, it's not just Haven and Riker who have problems they need to overcome and plots they need to uncover. You also have Ash, who has broken through his demonic curse and has now become River again. And as he struggles with his inner demon and what he did for the last 80 years while in the thrall of that demonic blood, he is trying to change and become a different person. However, there are people in his life, Lilith, who is trying to drag him back into that demon mindset of violence, blood, and revenge. And he's doing everything he can to fight it, but Lilith has her own plots and schemes and will not be deterred. However, there are those who are trying to seek out a legend that, if found and liberated from its cell, would unleash evil across the realms, destroying everything Haven and Riker hold dear. So what are my thoughts on this book? Again, I'm giving it 4 stars. This book was so good to read. I will say at times I did have to put it down just to process what I had read. This book is a roller coaster. If you like political intrigue, plots and schemes, double agents, not knowing who to trust and people betraying you and enemies maybe becoming your allies, at least in times of war, this is the series and the author to read. Georgia C Leigh is one of my top 3 authors when it comes to political intrigue and writing in plots and schemes. She is amazing and does it so well. Now, I will say everything that I love about this book at times did feel overwhelming, especially when you throw in all the different point of views. This book has a lot of point of views. At times it was overwhelming, but if you stuck with it, the payoff after some scheme either succeeded or failed was just so worth it that you just had to take little breaks in between and just get back to it when you were in the right mindset, and it was just so worth it. I will also say a lot of these characters had some great developments as individuals and couples in this book. People I may have hated in previous books, I now feel sympathy towards. People I hated in the previous books, I really hated in this book that I cannot wait for them to get their karma coming their way. And then you also again have you have Haven and Riker. Oh, maybe that's their name. Raven, Raven, Haven, Riker, I don't know. Just finally getting together and finally being together, but having to work through their issues to be together. This book was just a big roller coaster, and I enjoyed every moment of it. And again, is 4 stars for me. It comes out March 19th, so soon. If you haven't read book 1 and 2, you need to read them. They are just as heart-pounding as this book. You will not regret it. I hope everyone has a good night and happy readings.